By the end of the Alabasta saga, One Piece had carved out its place as the biggest title in Shonen Jump, a place it holds to this very day, only briefly giving the throne for a few weeks at a time to Naruto. When you get that big, you basically become untouchable. As such, Shonen Jump gave Oda a lot more leeway to do whatever he wants with the series. So long as it continues making bank and selling merch, they have no reason to pull on his leash. And nowhere is Oda's freedom more felt than in Sky Island. The Sky Saga is only 2 arcs, and since this isn't a plot breakdown, I'm tying it in with the Water 7 saga that followed. The saga starts right where Alabasta left off. Nico Robin had somewhat forced her way onto the crew, and the Straw Hats contemplate why the needle on their log post is pointing to the sky when a ship falls from the sky. Thus begins the Jaya arc. Jaya is just a pit stop. It's an island full of scrubs who don't realize that they're in a fantasy world where anything is possible. It's effective, mostly in what all it sets up. We have the first mysterious appearance of Blackbeard, and before we even know his name or role in the story, we get a parallel to Luffy that none of the other villains have had. The implication being that he is going to be the final big bad of the entire series, or at the very least one of the final villains for Luffy to topple. Bellamy isn't as interesting. He's functional as many One Piece antagonists are, but he's just a bully and someone nowhere near the same league as Crocodile Arlong or even someone like Don Krieg. He spews a worldview that simply doesn't make sense. We find out later that there's pirates like Rouge who are from Sky Island running around the Grand Line with their own bounty posters, and yet there are places this deep into the Grand Line that believe that's a myth. Bellamy feels more like an afterthought than an actual character, a flaw that is only exacerbated when he returns in Dressrosa. Sky Island is long, but not much actually happens. Most of the arc is a death game set up by the saga's antagonist, a Logia Devil Fruit user with a god complex named Enel. There's a lot of good backstory bits sprinkled into this arc, including another more definitive mention of the Will of D. The best part of this arc is the villain, though. Enel isn't a particularly interesting character, but he's somewhat unique in One Piece. He's just a king or a god. He's not a pirate or a marine or someone with a lot of pull in the world government. He's just a tyrant who stands in Luffy's way. The arc feels a lot like padding. The lore bits are important, and the story at hand is well told, and the environments do a good job breaking up the monotony of clouds only to fall into the monotony of typical jungles, but there's no real game changers. There's no new crew members, none of the main characters go through any kind of arc. It feels less like a major part of an ongoing series than it does one of those anime movies that are forced to keep everything exactly the same. It's a filler arc disguised as a major saga, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. I've often complained about shows that take reader interest for granted, but I do understand why this arc isn't as well regarded as what follows. Long Ring Long Land is filler. There is absolutely nothing here that's worthwhile. It's the last comedic break before things get deadly serious across the next few sagas. But I've read the saga twice now, and I didn't so much as giggle a single time. The setting is flat and devoid of personality. It feels less interesting than that one-off island with all the weird animals. Foxy is ineffectual as an antagonist, only able to challenge within the extremely specific context of a Davy backfight, and even then he struggled to get anything done. The only glimpse of hope in this arc is the abrupt appearance of Aokiji, which could have happened any time after Robin joined the crew. If Sky Island is Oda using his freedom to create a compelling isolated saga, then Long Long Land is Oda using his freedom to waste time while he works out the next saga. But boy, what a saga it is! Water 7 and Enies Lobby are joined at the hip and showcase every single one of Oda's strong suits. The plot runs like a well-oiled machine with several factions to keep track of. The Straw Hats get split a couple different ways, Usopp tries striking out on his own, Robin goes missing, you have the CPs, the Shipwrights, the Train Lady, the Frankie family, and the people of Water 7 all going through their own plot beats, circling around each other in an intricate labyrinth of storytelling. But it doesn't sacrifice drama or action for that. Water 7 only has a few brief altercations like Luffy vs. Frankie and Luffy vs. Usopp. Most of the action is saved for Enies Lobby, which gives every major character a boss fight except Robin, who spends most of the arc handcuffed, but she does deal with Spandam. Rob Lucci isn't very interesting in the grand scheme of anime villainy, but he's really just the muscle, and that makes him interesting. Spandam is the real villain, and he's just a sniveling pencil pusher. Each of these fights is well orchestrated and pushes the crew much further than the battle with Baroque Works and Alabasta. And unlike that arc, the drama pulls no punches. Nico Robin's backstory is on par with Nami's. Frankie also gets a compelling backstory, and both are intrinsically tied to Goldie, Roger, the One Piece, and the inevitable final battle to come. In a way, the story could have started here forward with Robin and or Frankie becoming the audience surrogates. Their journey truly begins here and has more to do with the title of the show than any of the Straw Hats that have joined Luffy up to this point. One Piece spent all this time building on what came before and setting a clear goal for the future. Arcs themselves are inconsistent and some of them can be skipped, but without the pointlessness of Long Long Land, Water 7 and Enies Lobby might not have been as well thought out. So from here on, it's a lot easier to give the bad arcs a pass so long as what follows is good. And what followed Enies Lobby, though not as well told, would completely shake the foundation of the story forever. I'm Mediocrity4, and next time I talk about One Piece, we'll be going to war.